Hello and welcome back to Something Z, and welcome to Of Naruto at the Seven Tails Part 5. Last time on the What If, the remaining ending that passed the second phase of the exam did 1v1s to half the number of examinees, and when the fights were done, they were given a month to train. And during that month, Naruto met Jiraiya, who undid the extra seal that was put on Naruto, and he taught Naruto the summoning jutsu. And now that that's out of the way, let's jump into the video in 3, 2, 1. So now we skip past the rest of the month's training, and the training Naruto did was training how to use the Seven Tails' power more. So he's more skilled at flying and shooting string and dust out of his mouth, and he's learned how to cover himself with more of Chomi's chakra, so he can get one tail now, because in the past he was only able to cloak himself enough to make him change physically, but he didn't have enough to make an actual tail. So now it's the day of the final part of the exams, and when the exams begin, Naruto notes that Sasuke wasn't there yet, but before he could think too much of it, the main examiner told the public the names for the first match, which was Naruto and Neji, and when their names were called, the rest of the examinees left the arena, while Naruto and Neji went to the other sides of the arena. And when everything was ready, the match began, and the second it started, Naruto covered himself with Chomi's chakra, and he sprouted his wing, and he flew straight at Neji, and when he was close enough, he shot out blinding powder from his mouth, but Neji was able to dodge the attack. And with a couple of seconds that he had before Naruto would attack again, Neji was able to hit Naruto with a gentle fist in his shoulder, and when he hit it, Naruto loses control of his wings for a few seconds, so he falls to the ground a couple of feet away, and when he landed, Naruto creates 3 clones, and the 3 flew straight at Neji, while the real Naruto was getting his breath back. But Neji ran past the clones, and he ran straight at the real Naruto, and he hit him with 8 trigrams, 64 palms, hitting most of Naruto's chakra points. And when Naruto got hit, the clones Naruto just made disappeared. And when Neji was done with the attack, Naruto fell to the ground face first. And after a couple of seconds, the main examiner started to count down from 10 to end the match. And when he got to 5, Naruto was able to pick himself up. And when he was finally standing, Neji and Naruto began to talk about fate. And by the end of the conversation, Neji said that Naruto will never be the Hokage, since he's not destined to. And hearing this, Naruto got mad, so he decided to stop holding back. So he started to cover himself with more of the 7 tails of chakra, to the point where he now has 1 tail. Then Naruto creates 3 clones, and they all charge at Neji, and unable to dodge the attack, Neji used 8 trigram palms revolving heaven around the 4, launching them a couple of feet away. And since they charged at Neji as fast as they could, the clones got destroyed, and the real Naruto was injured, but he was still able to continue. Then Naruto got out of kunai, and he flew at Neji as fast as he could, and for a couple of minutes, Neji and Naruto fought solely with kunais. And after a couple of minutes, Naruto threw his kunai at Neji, and in response, Neji threw his. And when the 2 kunais collided, they landed on the ground. Then the 2 go for one final clash, with Naruto going for a punch as hard as he could, while Neji goes for another rotation. When the attacks collided, it created a huge explosion in the arena, launching dirt everywhere. And when the dirt settled, the people in the stand saw 2 human-shaped holes in the ground. And after less than a minute, Neji starts to pull himself out of his hole. Then he walks over to Naruto's hole to see if he's able to continue. And when he looks into it, he sees an unconscious Naruto. Then the main examiner started to count down again, and when he reached 2, something appeared right under Neji, and right before he was able to dodge the attack, Naruto was able to punch Neji in the chin, knocking him to the ground. And Naruto was labeled the winner of the match, since when Neji hit the ground, he was unable to get back up, since he used so much of his chakra to fight Naruto in the match. So now we skip past Shikamaru's and Tamari's match, and it will end the same with Shikamaru giving up, making Tamari the winner. So it's time for the match between Sasuke and Gaara. And when the match was supposed to start, Sasuke still wasn't there yet, so the main examiner started to count down to end the match. And when he reached 3, Sasuke and Kakashi appear in the middle of the arena. And after Kakashi went to the stands, and when everything was ready, the match began. And when the match was happening, Sasuke was able to fight much stronger and faster than he has ever before, since he was able to watch Lee's movements with his Sharingan, and he was able to copy Lee's movements. And Sasuke was so strong he was able to get through Gaara's sand. And after Sasuke was able to hurt Gaara, Gaara surrounded himself with sand, making himself a dome, and in that dome, Gaara started to transform, and the second Gaara retreated, Sasuke tried to get through it, but no matter how hard he tried, he wasn't able to break through it. So he started to run up a wall of the arena, and he put lightning nature chakra into his hand, and he ran as fast as he could at the dome. And when he got to the dome, he used his electrified hand, and he was able to pierce through the dome, and that attack was able to stop Gaara's transformation. And when the attack hit Gaara, the people in the stands began to fall asleep, starting the Konoha Crush. And when everyone fell asleep, enemy shinobi began to attack the shinobi that didn't fall for the genjutsu. And the other 2 sand shinobi got Gaara, and they left. And when Sasuke saw them leave, he followed after them. And seeing Sasuke leave, Kakashi tells him to wake Sakura to get Shikamaru and Naruto, and follow after Sasuke. So after waking up Naruto and forcing Shikamaru to help, the 3 went back to Kakashi. And after talking for a bit, Kakashi summoned a dog named Bakun. Then using the dog's strong sense of smell, they were able to follow Sasuke's scent. But after a couple of minutes of following Sasuke's scent, Bakun was able to detect 9 different people behind them. And hearing this, Shikamaru comes up with a way so they can stop them from getting all of them, but in exchange one of them will have to stay behind and possibly die. And hearing this, Naruto tells them that he will be the one to stay behind. And after having to persuade Shikamaru, Shikamaru finally caves in, and he agrees to this. So they then stop and hide their footprints, making it harder for the enemy shinobi to follow them. Then Naruto and the rest of the team continued on, sprouted his wing, and he flew the opposite direction. And after a couple of minutes, Naruto was able to catch up to the 8 enemy shinobi, and before they were able to see him, he attacked them, since he was flying a little bit above the trees, allowing him to get a sneak attack. And using the sneak attack to his advantage, Naruto was able to beat the enemy shinobi. But after beating them up, he realized that Bakun said that there were 9 people behind them, so he began to fly around as fast as he could to try to find the last one. And after a couple of minutes, Naruto sees Asuma carrying the body of the last shinobi, so Naruto tells him where the other 8 are. Then he began to cover himself with more of Chome's chakra, making him faster, and he flew as fast as he could to reach his teammates. And after a couple of minutes, Naruto was able to spot them, but what he saw was the rest of Team 7 was injured. Sasuke was lying down, face first on a branch, and Naruto could tell he was in pain. He also noticed these weird black markings starting to cover Sasuke's body, but Naruto put that at the back of his mind when he saw Sakura was being tied and crushed by some sand in the shape of a hand. He also saw that Gaara was transformed into some sand creature, and when he actually got there, he saw Shikamaru's chakra give out, since he was doing the shadow possession jutsu on Gaara. And when he was free, Gaara shot out sand shurikens from his body, and he was able to hit Shikamaru and Bakun with them, and the shurikens were able to hit all of Shikamaru's limbs, making him unable to fight. And Bakun got hit in one of his hind legs, and it got cut off. And when Naruto saw this, he flew down as fast as he could, and when he spots him, Gaara launches another wave of sand shurikens at Naruto, but he was able to dodge the attacks. And when Sasuke saw Naruto, he told him about Sakura, and he told him to beat Gaara as quickly as he could. Then hearing that he needs to end the fight quickly, he tried to summon Gamabunta, but when he did the summoning, he summoned a small toad instead. Then Gaara extended his arm to try to hit the two, but Naruto was able to grab the toad, and he flew above the arm just in time so he was able to dodge the attack. Then Naruto flew back at the branch, and he put down the toad, and he created 999 shadow clones, and they began to attack Gaara all at once. And when the assault was, Gaara was starting to fall apart. But after a couple of seconds, Gaara started to be surrounded by sand, and he began to grow, so now he was fully transformed. Was Gaara at the creature's forehead, and he used the jutsu to make himself fall asleep, releasing the real Shukaku. And when he was free, Shukaku started to surround Naruto in sand, slowly crushing him. But before he could suffocate, Naruto used the summoning jutsu again, and this time he was able to summon Gamabunta. And when Naruto was on Gamabunta's head, he told him to help him fight Shukaku. But seeing as he was told to fight Shukaku of the sand, he didn't want to fight. But after being told by Gamakichi that Naruto helped him, Gamabunta decided to help, so the two creatures started to fight, and Naruto flew around Shukaku trying to get to Gaara. But no matter how fast he flew, Shukaku would start to surround him in sand, and that would make Naruto stop since he needed to avoid it. And after a couple of minutes, Naruto surrounded him with more of Chome's chakra, so now he has one tail, and with his new speed, Naruto with the last of his chakra was able to fly to Gaara. And when Naruto got to him, he punched Gaara in the face, waking him up. And when Gaara woke up, Shukaku got suppressed back into him, so the sand started to crumble and eventually disappear. And when the sand creature left, the two toads left in a pool of smoke. So when the two landed, the two were injured, and Naruto only has so much chakra to move around for a bit longer, so his wings are gone. And Gaara was on the ground, unable to move. And when Naruto sees Gaara, he walks over to him, and he said that he forgives him. But he then threatens him by saying that if he does this again, he will kill him without any hesitation. Then Naruto walked to a nearby tree and he passed out from exhaustion. And when Naruto woke up, he found himself in a hospital room, and Kakashi was reading a book. And when Kakashi noticed that he was awake, Kakashi tells Naruto everything that happened. And a couple of days later, the village held a funeral for the third Hokage. And that's where I'm going to leave the What If. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time on Something Z.